Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Sconcy Business, and today we're going to be talking with Adam Barlam from Bravocoin. Are you the CEO and founder, or what is the exact title?
I am the CTO and co-founder.
CTO and co-founder. Okay, perfect. And so can you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So name's Adam Barlam. Initially came from New York over to Arizona almost about 20 years ago now. Went to ASU, worked for Intel for about 6 years, worked for GoDaddy for 3 years, was really into Linux and the open source community. And from there, kind of like delved into, blockchain and Bitcoin. And about 3 years ago, we started to create Bravocoin, which is a fork of Steemit after version 0.19. And we modified it and customized it towards a mobile review environment. So it's much like a Yelp or a TripAdvisor, except that you earn cryptocurrency for your reviews.
Awesome. So what does your average day look like with Bravocoin and maybe whatever else you've got going on?
Okay. So Bravocoin is full time for me. Basically, so I have a team that I work with, a development team. We have 6 developers who are actually out in Asia. So generally, I run on Asian time. Primarily, my day starts around like 2 to 3 p.m. And it goes all the way to like 8 or 9 the next morning. And then I kind of sleep in between and do it again. So I'm kind of on like the night shift hours, to work and support our devs. That consists of, improvements to our application. We have a couple of different components that tie into this. We have the blockchain side, and then we have the applicational interface that interfaces with the blockchain. I kind of split my time during the night, working with our blockchain devs and doing improvements and updates to the blockchain side. And then I kind of split the other time with our front end people and, working on the applicational side.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, a lot of the people I talk to are located all over, or they have to work with people who are on the other side of the world, and then their schedules are really crazy compared to what the average person is used to. So, for people who have no idea what Bravocoin is, can you give a brief introduction and then maybe a higher level introduction for people who are already kind of aware of the crypto space?
Sure. So Bravocoin is an application for iOS and Android. It's a review platform, much like Yelp or much like TripAdvisor, but we have a lot more categories than Yelp or TripAdvisor. So you can review restaurants, hotels, service providers, movies, video games, and then we have some crypto-centric categories as well, such as coins and exchanges, and even dApps. So we have a number of different categories on there. We have over 3.5 million restaurants. We're constantly updating our database. And basically, users are able to leave reviews for any of those various categories. And then depending upon how much interaction and engagement they get on the review, so how many likes they get, how many people are interacting with it, would dictate how much cryptocurrency or how much Bravocoin they earn. So if people who are familiar with the Steemit platform, since we forked Steemit, we've modified it and we've kind of removed some of like the powering up and powering down investing, some other things. But if you're familiar with the Steemit concept of how, like weighted algorithms work and weighted voting works, that's very similar to how Bravocoin works. So we're DPoS, delegated proof of stake. So we are a proof of stake based platform. So the more Bravo that you hold, the more your vote is worth, and subsequently the more rewards that you can earn. So you can earn author rewards, which are, for writing reviews, writing comments, and, people upvoting and liking your content. And then we also offer curation reviews. So, voting for content, letting us know what reviews you think are valid, what reviews you think are good. You're rewarded for that as well. And then you can also earn Bravo passively by running a witness node.
Yeah, so I guess people who are familiar with Steem, it's going to be very similar for them to come on and start exploring this platform. It'll be very familiar for them. Okay, cool.
Yep, absolutely. We have voting power just like Steem. As you continually vote, your voting power will start to decrease. And then, it replenishes over the course of 5 days.
Okay, cool. So what exactly would you say Bravocoin is meant to solve? Like what problem in today's current review market, so to speak, would you say it solves?
Sure. So it solves a couple of issues. The first issue that we solve is revenue sharing. So previously, everyone's giving away content for free. Yelp is a $3 billion company, $3 billion market cap that literally was built based upon people giving them free content and free reviews. So that's the first thing that we solved is that, these corporate behemoths that are earning, billions and billions of dollars for your content that you're providing for them for free, and then, abusing that content and abusing your privacy and not allowing you to monetize it. We've kind of solved that first issue now with blockchain, because now you can be compensated, for your reviews and for your content, or even for curating other reviews. So that's the first thing that we solved, is, that kind of like financial incentive and monetization, and kind of like taking the power away from these, corporate behemoths and kind of putting it back into the community and the people's hands. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we've solved are bias and fraudulent reviews via our proof of location device. So a huge issue with Yelp, with TripAdvisor, with a lot of these platforms are fake reviews. They're rampant everywhere. CNN did a study recently, and they said 1 out of 6 reviews on TripAdvisor are actually fake, that they've determined. So there's a monetary incentive now. So first of all, reviews are such a huge part of our everyday shopping patterns, whether, we're going out to eat, or we're going to, you're buying a blender on Amazon, or, whatever you're doing, you're now reading reviews prior to making these purchases, or prior to, going to this restaurant or wherever you're going to go. And you start to have like cutoffs and thresholds of what's good and what isn't good. Is a 3.5 star or 4.5 star my cutoff, and then everything below that I don't go to. So these reviews are very, very powerful, and they hold it's almost like you can hold a business hostage based upon the review rating that they have on their business. And because there's this monetary incentive, and reviews are so heavily tied to the success of a business, it needs to be valid data, and data that cannot be easily manipulated. Because if you can easily manipulate this data, then you could detriment that business negatively. So, and that's what we see a lot, with Yelp and with these other businesses, is that one business will sabotage another business, or even employees or salespeople that work for these companies are almost like strong arming them, or leaving negative reviews for the businesses they want to get to sign up, because they understand that that's how the business operates. That's how the Yelps of the world or the TripAdvisors monetize their business. They succeed by getting these businesses to sign up and purchase ads from them. And the way that they get them to purchase ads is by trying to get them to improve their profile. If they have negative reviews or so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, Bravocoin really seems like you guys are bringing these solutions to these things. And I think it's really important, because not only are people going to be earning from participating, but they're also not going to be misled from those fake reviews. So you're not going to buy something, or invest in something, or whatever it might be, like thinking that it's going to be something completely different than it is. So, twofold, people are really benefiting from Bravocoin. So that's really, really awesome to see. So how did Bravocoin get the name? And then what was the motivation to start it?
Okay. So I started developing Bravocoin in 2016. And prior to that, it actually wasn't even called Bravocoin. Actually, when we first started, it wasn't even built on blockchain. So about 6 months prior, my business partner, her name is Lorena. She's Hispanic. We wanted to export the review concept to Spanish-speaking countries, because it doesn't really exist. No one has really implemented it very well. So, like Yelp is very popular in Canada. It's very popular, here in the States, but it's not very popular in other parts of the world. And one of the issues maybe is that the letter Y in Spanish is like an E sound, and it's ILP in Spanish, and that really doesn't really mean anything to anyone. So they never really had like a good like a stronghold in Mexico or Spanish speaking countries. So we thought we could export that concept very easily to these Spanish speaking countries. So initially it was called Reseña, which is review in Spanish. And we had Reseña and reseñas.com, and it was going to be this review platform that was strictly for the Spanish speaking demographic. So we were going down that path for about like 6 months or so. And one day I called up Lorena and I said, I have this radical idea. And Lorena had no clue what blockchain was, kind of maybe heard of Bitcoin, but didn't really understand, conceptually or technologically how it all, existed or how it all works. And I said, I want to convert our entire backend onto blockchain. And she said, blockchain, what's this? So I explained how it would all work. And I said, why I want to do this, because now we can engage in revenue sharing and actually give back to the community, and users, can start to earn, and mom and pop businesses, can start to capitalize on something like this. And as soon as I started telling her that, users can be involved and users can start to earn for their content and their reviews, she was in. So, we decided right then and there that we were going to flip it to blockchain and change the entire backend. We were on like a typical traditional SQL backend. So we flipped it all to blockchain. And then we decided that, now we can target a global audience, because before, we were like, oh, we don't want to have to, compete with the same exact product or platform as a Yelp or the TripAdvisors of the world. But now that we have a differentiating, platform, a differentiating product with an incentive for users to leave, these reviews, we thought that we can now target, this audience and target the United States and wherever these other companies are. So, with that said, we thought of, how can we come up with a name that represents, that's a globally accepted, term that translates across many different languages. And we came up with the word, bravo, like clapping, because bravo translates very well across all different languages.
Okay.
And
yeah,
that
that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about it from the perspective of how it might translate. And I've actually never even spoken to a CEO who brought that up as like part of the reason that they named it that. So I think that's really, really interesting, because I've never really considered that, how it might poorly translate to another language, or how it might be received in another language depending on the term used. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense that you guys went with Bravo, because it's like how many claps,
exactly.
like how
operas in Italy, bravo, they're clapping. So it's a very familiar term that translates very, very well. And one of the things I talk about like Yelp, and it's like Yelp in Spanish, and that doesn't really make sense. Or like the Chevy Novo, in the 70s or whatever, doesn't go, and they were wondering when they first produced this car why it wasn't selling very well in Spanish-speaking countries. So it's this type of like global expansion, strategies that you have to think about when you're creating a global platform. You have to make sure that everyone understands it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some of the next big updates coming for Bravocoin, and or like what's in the works right now?
So in Q4, we finished developing our proof of location device, which is super cool. It's this little device that we have. And basically what that does is it interfaces with our application and the blockchain, and basically proves that you're within a 330-foot radius of this device when you say you go to a restaurant, or when you say you go to a hotel, or wherever you go. And basically we can now provide authenticated and verified reviews, so that people can't leave fake or fraudulent reviews. And not only can we verify the reviews, we can now offer incentives for users interfacing with these devices. So for instance, we have 2 coffee shops right now locally here in Arizona that are running these devices. And if you go there, and you check in and you have the Bravo app, you're going to get rewarded with cryptocurrency just for checking in. Because you're a verified check-in, and you're going to get additional cryptocurrency for leaving a review if you've been there because you're a verified review. So our strategy now moving forward is we're getting more businesses, local businesses, onboarded, and then we're trying to get as many businesses as possible to have these devices, because we feel verified, authenticated reviews are the future, and that's the direction that we need to go. So what we've started to do is we've built an entire vendor dashboard, where vendors can sign up. They can claim their profile and business on the Bravo app, and then they can log into a vendor dashboard, which shows all different types of analytics, profile views, the amount of click to calls they have, click to maps, how many people have left them reviews, how many people have checked in, opt-in, so on and so forth. And then they're able actually to market to those users who have chosen to who have opted in basically to their services, or to that restaurant, for instance. So say you go to like a Mexican place in your area, and you really like it, and you leave a review on Bravo, and afterwards we say, hey, we understand that you like Pablo's Mexican food. Would you like to receive promotional deals from Pablo's? You're like, oh, okay, cool, that sounds good. So you click OK, and then all of a sudden you're in our database, and the business never actually gets any of your information. All this is interfaced through our application and through the blockchain. But what that does is you now say, hey, you know what? I'm willing to receive coupons or discounts. So Pablo can go ahead and market to you now through our vendor dashboard, and say, I want to target all users who have checked into my restaurant in the past 2 weeks and give them a 10% off coupon. Or, I want to target, anyone who reviewed my carne asada tacos, because, I have a special on carne asada tacos coming up. So basically, it allows these vendors to do hyper local targeted marketing through the platform. And actually, all the upgrades through the platform are done through Bravocoin and through our coin. So it's a utility coin that you use on the platform to enable these upgrades to the services. So, for instance, if they want to do sponsored ads that are geolocated, they could do something like that, and then they'll start appearing in the sponsored ad list randomly in the nearby restaurants on the Bravo app, and all that's done through Bravocoin. So it gives them an incentive to accept Bravocoin at their place of business to interact and interface with the system, because then they can utilize those coins and spend it on digital marketing on our platform.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That kind of that kind of gives the business side of perspective of the conversation. So any businesses that are watching, make sure to get in touch and potentially get yourself set up for reviews as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where do you feel that Bravocoin fits in with other projects that might be similar, inside or outside of crypto? And then how is it uniquely different? Or, maybe like, from my experience, it seems to be the only one in the crypto space, but I'd like to hear from your perspective.
Sure. Yeah, we're definitely a very, very unique case in the crypto sphere, and there really isn't anyone who's really doing what we're doing. There's some projects that are kind of doing some similar things, but they don't have a dedicated iOS, Android app. It's not really mobile based. It's not geolocated, geo targeted. So kind of like very minor in terms of what they're doing, what we're doing. So yeah, I'd say we have a very, very unique use case and a valid use case, in the crypto space. As far as our competitors in the outside world, obviously we have like the Yelps and TripAdvisors, who I would say are our main, centralized competitors. And obviously what differentiates us from them is the fact that, now users are earning for the reviews as opposed to before leaving them for free, or even, Google reviews and so on and so forth. And we've had a lot of users who have, published articles or talked to me directly or emailed us, and they said, hey, I'm a Google local guy, or I'm a Yelp Elite, member, and I'm never using these programs again. I've given them hundreds and hundreds of reviews of all these different places I've been, and they haven't given me a dime. And they sit here and they monetize my content and pretty much at my privacy, abuse of my privacy, and abuse of my content as a result to promote and and proliferate their business. So. So yeah, I would say that those are really our competitors on the outside world. But yeah, in the inside world, not very many people are doing this in the crypto sphere, which is kind of good. So I feel like we definitely have the advantage and on the right track from that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And where would you say, or where would you hope rather, that you would see the company in like a year from now, and then say in like 5 years from now, assuming everything goes in a good way, everything's ideal, because it's hard to know where things are going in the crypto space. But just so the ideal version of what that would look like 1 year and then 5 years.
Sure. So, I really see us as a customer loyalty and engagement platform that revolves around reviews and blockchain. And I feel that we can really harness this data, and that local businesses are really going to want to utilize this data and, use it for hyper local marketing. So I feel that, we're going to make, I feel that we can make a dent in that industry, and start to take that path forward and, kind of target like the Yelps and the TripAdvisors of the world, but also kind of target like the Tap Tangos and like, the people that are doing those kind of like customer loyalty programs. Because, the current customer loyalty system, everything's very, very siloed. If I have airline miles, or I have points at Starbucks, or I have points at, the local, bakery down the street, I can't use it globally. It's like, I have enough miles on Southwest, to maybe get me half of a flight, and I have enough miles on American to get me another half flight, but I can't combine them together to get a flight. So I'm kind of like, it kind of screws with you. So by having, a system and a customer loyalty system that is built on blockchain and is agnostic to the businesses that are involved, I really feel that, we can make a dent in that industry. And then you combine that with the review component, and I think it's a perfect combination.
Yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, that's definitely true, where it's like you have all these different loyalty programs, but you've only got like a little bit on each. Whereas if there was just one underlying, network that had just one currency, then it would be much, much easier. Plus, we don't have to wait for specific, intervals. You can just take your Bravocoin and you could cash it out, or, earn more with it. So I think that's really, really key. What is the current user base look like on there, and how is it growing month over month?
Sure. So we have about 3,500 users right now. About 70% of them are from the U.S. The other 30% are global and worldwide. And we've been growing pretty quickly. We really haven't done any official like marketing. We kind of just been going to a couple of trade shows here and there. Our last major trade show was WCC, which was November 1st. And since WCC, we've grown actually about 50% since WCC. So in the
Wow.
past 2 months or so, we've had significant growth. So we're starting to see like that hockey stick, ramp up period that's occurring where users are signing up and then they're referring other users, and then they have an incentive to refer other users. Anyone on the Bravo platform who refers someone else, as soon as they complete their first review, they get 10 Bravo coin as well. So we kind of have like an affiliate link system put into place in the app already, and that's kind of like driving organic traffic onto the platform.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so where can everyone go to learn more about Bravocoin?
I would say, definitely start out at our webpage, bravocoin.com. And then I would say a great resource is our Telegram. So you can get the link to our Telegram on our page, or you can just go to t.me/bravo_coin. Join there. We have a very active community online. If you have any questions, you want to talk about the platform, 24 hours a day, there's people talking in there, discussing stuff of what's going on the platform. So, we have a great community. They're super active. Everyone's always sharing reviews. People are voting for each other, voting for witness nodes. And that's another thing, that I really wanted to do is, make this entire ecosystem easy so that the average person can get involved. And that's what we did as well with the witness node system. So, typically to set up a Steem witness node or to set up master nodes or something like that, you need to be somewhat more technologically advanced. It's not like the casual user is just going to go and set up a witness node and set up a Linux VPS and compile code and check something out from GitHub. That's just it's just not happening for most people. So what I did was I created an automated script, menu-driven script that basically grabs everything from GitHub, sets it all up for you, and then basically you just paste in your active key from the Bravo app, and it just starts a node up for you automatically. You enable it from app side, and boom, you're running as a witness node. And then we've made it even easier so that people who are Steem members should be very familiar with this. If you enable witness mode within our application, all of a sudden on your profile within the app, you'll get a little icon that appears that says vote for witness. So then other users who are viewing your profile, they can go ahead and vote for you, and then you get those witness votes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I ran a witness node for probably 6 months on Steem. And yeah, it's definitely a very technical process. So I think it's really key that you guys are making it more accessible. And I actually just recorded a video that I'm going to put out very soon called "What About the Average Person?" And like to speak to what you were just saying. And the whole point of it was to say, like, when you go back and you think, like, what is the average person actually going to like tolerate, and what would their resistance be for like using some sort of crypto application? They're probably already kind of hesitant. So it's got to be extremely, extremely easy and accessible.
Exactly.
And
the bar is set way too high right now for the majority of applications that are out there. They think the user base is a lot more technologically advanced than they are.
Yeah, exactly. And you even said at the beginning, like, some people can't even use MetaMask and stuff like that. So it's got to be really, really easy to use and accessible. And you guys are clearly doing a good job of that. And
it's got to be like the Facebook or Instagram or Yelps of today. That's how you have to get people over into these applications and get them to transition. If you have a very complex, hard to understand use case or hard to implement, application, and it's confusing, or the UX isn't good or the UI isn't good, no one's going to adopt it. It needs to be as easy as like that. My grandmother, my parents can use it, and unfortunately, 99% of the applications in our space fail that test today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of like how you guys like protect privacy, what is that situation like?
Sure. So anyone who signs, we're a public blockchain just like Steem. So anyone can see your username. Anyone can see the amount of Bravo that you have in your wallet, or what you're voting on, what your reviews are. We want that entire part immutable. When you sign up for our platform, we do ask for your phone number to make sure that people aren't creating fake accounts. But all that information, your phone number, your email that you sign up with, if you put your name down, all that's private. That's only stored on our servers. That's never given out to any of our merchants, any of the vendors that sign up. Basically, we operate like a walled garden approach, where they can see usernames of people who have left reviews, but that's all they can see. And you can see that on the Block Explorer anyway. But what we enable is we enable these vendors now to be able to market to these usernames by utilizing our dashboard and our platform. So they can see that you, Scott, your name on Bravo is Scott C Business, I think. They can see Scott C Business left a review, but they can't see your phone number. They can't see your email address, but they can choose to, if you opted into that, Pablo's Mexican place, they can choose to send you an SMS or a push notification that goes through our platform, and they never see, the phone number or who it's going to. They just know the end result hits you.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So that's how
perfect.
that's how we protect user privacy from that standpoint. So all that stuff is very locked down. It's very private. Everything's fully encrypted on our systems. And then, some of the other things that we're working on as well in terms of, user accessibility and making this easier for users is we're working on a multi-factor key recovery system. So we think that's going to be huge. One issue now, one large issue in the crypto community are private keys and the onboarding process for new users and getting them to write down their keys or remember it or not lose it. And, just the whole private key issue of understanding how that whole concept works is very confusing to someone who's not familiar with blockchain or isn't familiar with how Bitcoin and all that stuff works. So we've been working on actually a recovery system where you can recover your private key that's going to be stored and split in multiple locations, but it's going to be custom encrypted and custom hashed to specific questions and specific answers that you give. So we're not going to know the questions that you're asking or the answers to them. We just have an encrypted string that's stored in multiple places or multiple servers, and then if you want to recover your account, we give you this encrypted data back. And if you can decrypt it, that's great. You can get your account back and get your private key back. So it's kind of like your existing recovery systems that users are kind of used to, like, hey, here's your questions, answer these questions correctly, and you can recover your account. Except because we're a decentralized system, so we don't have that information, we're going to provide it from multiple sources in an encrypted format where the user is providing their own custom password or their own salt for the encryption.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And then my last question would probably be, how do you ensure there's no issues with like removing, maybe like removing something that doesn't look good for a company and, just like upholding free speech? I know in line, obviously, with you guys are doing verified reviews to ensure for fake reviews, but then on the flip side, in terms of, like being unbiased and fair, what's the process for that?
So since we're an immutable platform, nothing can technically be removed from the blockchain once it's posted there. We do have to follow standard, decency laws that are in the United States, like no pornographic material, no, nothing offensive, no hate speech, stuff like that. So anything like that, if it does come onto our platform, we will filter it and we will hide it on the platform so you can't see it in the applicational view. But it's still going to be on the blockchain. It's immutable on the block square. We can't do anything about that. So that's what we can do in terms of offensive content. But in terms of like businesses receiving reviews that are unfavorable, that's why we have an entire social media type and social network type of setup. So if someone leaves a negative review, the business can come and reply to that review, and they can get dialogue going, and everyone can see the dialogue, all the comments, all the replies are all also stored on the blockchain. So there'll be active dialogue, and users can vote on what they feel is right and what they feel is wrong, and then from there they can make an honest decision.
Okay, awesome. And that's pretty much everything that I have here. Is there anything else that you'd like to say or cover before we end this off?
So we have some other cool things, to kind of get people engaged. We developed these things called Bravo blast codes. If any of your users aren't really familiar with us or they don't follow us on Twitter, you should definitely follow us on Twitter. So we have these kind of like gamified codes that we've made. And that's another thing is that, we want to make this a fun, engaging platform that's kind of like gamified. So we have these 16 character codes that we release periodically. They're time sensitive, so they may be valid for 4 hours, maybe valid for 24 hours. Sometimes they revolve around holidays or Black Friday or what's ever going on. And basically, you take this code, you copy it, and you paste it into a section in our app that says Bravo Blast Codes. And you earn a random amount. You basically unlock a random amount of Bravo that's instantly transferred to your account. Okay. So it's pretty cool. It's anywhere from like I can set the values. It's a bell curve. So you may get the low end of the bell curve. You may get the high end. You may get the you're most likely to get the middle of it. But it's kind of cool. It's like a gamified experience. People like it. It's like instant gratification. You're like, oh, cool. I'm earning crypto or I'm winning something. Right then and there. So we do those periodically. So I'd recommend if you don't follow us because we post those, at least once a week. We have a blast code going out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and you guys might also want to have to turn on the notifications so that you don't miss their blast code.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, no, that's really cool. It's always good when there's other ways that people can earn too, just to incentivize more usage. And yeah, the gamified approach is always, I'm sure, always appreciated by the users. So if you guys haven't gone and checked out Bravocoin, definitely go and do that. Go sign up and write the reviews that you would normally be writing, but get paid for them instead. So and also to just look for reviews and avoid all the fake reviews so that you can actually get the true representation of what that product or service actually is all about. So again, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I really appreciate it, and I'll probably be writing some reviews tonight.
Awesome. Sounds good. And also, one more thing I wanted to mention is that we did an ICO. This was a fully self-funded project that launched to the marketplace, without no private placement, no outside investors, self-funded between me and my business partner. So I just wanted to mention that because, we have a lot of these projects out here that have done ICOs, and, we didn't want to go that route.
Yeah, no, I think that's important to mention because, it's always more virtuous, so to speak, to rely on, to actually be sustainable, to not be reliant on cash infusions and whatever it might be, to actually keep yourselves running, and to not take everyone's money and then maybe not give them the product that they were hoping to get. So it's so much better when you've got the product and you're saying, hey, look, you can earn with us and we'll all earn together.
Absolutely.
We have millions and millions of dollars and we might give you some terrible
and we're going to exit
product
scam and leave. Exactly. And that was our whole goal, is that, we came to market with a working platform. I put my money where my mouth is. My business partner put her money where her mouth is. We invest our own, we have skin in the game. We invest our own money to develop this platform over the past 3 years with no ICO. So, we wanted to succeed just as much as the users who are earning crypto and earning Bravocoin on the platform for writing reviews.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen so many platforms, close down in the past year or two, or exit scam or whatever it might be. So it's always refreshing to see, people with skin in the game, people who are not doing ICOs and they're actually, and you're investing your own money. So that's really, really good to see. And again, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I'm sure everyone has learned a little bit. I've learned something. So yeah, thank you again.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.